think you should.
Welcome to this week's episode of Whoscussion. We are your host, ThatRandomGuy, and the essentially pleasing Harry Skelly.
Always sensually pleasing.
Always 1080p. So, this week, for part 8, we're going to be covering the last two stories of the Key to Time season. The Power of Kroll and the Armageddon Factor. The Armageddon Factor! For part B, we'll be covering the 8th Doctor story, Army of Death, and finishing it off with the 7th Doctor story, Dark Convoy. So, the Power of Kroll. I'm going to be starting us off this week, guys. The Power of Kroll. I loved this story. It's like, there's been a running theme. I've decided I don't trust my memories, basically. There's been a running theme of late between Harriet Skelly and I, where I say this story sucks, and then we watch it and it's good. And I've watched The Power of Kroll, and it's great.
It is actually, it is really,
it is
really
the classic archetypical Native Americans versus the military.
But with Cthulhu. Literally Cthulhu.
Literally Cthulhu. It's pretty great. The John Leeson's character of K9 is left in the TARDIS, and then actually John Leeson in the flesh is in this story. It's so great. They were like, well, we don't want to pay him 2 wages, so we'll leave K9 in the TARDIS, and we'll have him play this character, which was, what's his name? Dugan. So the story starts off with the classic Doctor Who trope, mistaken identity. The Doctor is mistaken for a gun dealer by these scientific excavators that are also the military. The science military. Just a bit like Black Mesa.
They're more like once America finally like realizes that it's just an oil nation and decides to just combine their oil companies and their military together.
Exactly. Yeah. And which is great, because this is about too, is they're basically after future oil, like in this story.
Yeah, well, they're after like it's this weird thing where they're like after methane for some reason, which is like that's probably one of the most abundant things that's around. Like, why? And it's also not really that like effective as a power source, so it's interesting. But they're also after like that protein as well.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that really what they're doing is trying to but get this protein and methane, not for a power source, but more for a food source.
Yeah.
And that's the idea that they're doing it. Maybe. I don't know.
That kind of seems to be where they're coming at with this, but the actual gun trader gets mixed up with Romana, so Romana ends up with these people they call the Swampies. Is their race ever actually said?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they just call them Swampies. They're originally from Delta Magna.
Yeah, and they get moved to this new planet Delta 3.
Yeah, and they look like Old Greg.
They actually look like Old Greg.
All of them. They all look like
every single one of them looks like Old Greg, and that was one of the major selling points. I'm Old Greg. Calm down, fuzzy man, Peach. So every single one of them looks like Old Greg, and they have partnered themselves up with this gun dealer. Now, what they don't know is that the gun dealer himself actually has been hired by the company that actually want to kill the Swampies / take all of this stuff. Praise the company. A full M of praise. So they're working for the company, and they're basically a slave force as well, which is really interesting. So like the company lets them do their like hocus pocus, old school, Stone Age almost culture, but at the same time the company has them as like slave work. They're not registered as actual life forms, which I find really messed up. They are not listed as life forms. So you're actually supposed to act like they're not there even when they're working for you.
Yep.
So that's that is such a human thing. It's pretty great.
That's such a company thing.
Yeah, the praise the company. Company be praised. It's so merciful. But these people believe in a god called Kroll, and they keep their traditions alive by dressing people up as Kroll, and it's so great. It is
actually hilarious.
It's so great. So the doctor manages to convince the people who work for this company that he's not the traitor, even though their boss says he's not the guy. They're still skeptical about like his purpose being there. They think he's part of this group called the Children of Earth, or the Sons of Earth.
Which did also kind of confuse me when they were calling it that. I'm like, there's only one son of Earth. Oh, wait, you mean, like, children.
Yeah, children. Okay. Which, by the way, it could be another gender. Just throwing that out there. A group of activists might, in fact, have women working for them.
Maybe they were all dudes.
Maybe, yeah. They're like,
we didn't actually see any of them.
Yeah, exactly.
They were
talked
about, and we didn't see a single one of their members.
Any of them at all. So the doctor ends up talking to them and telling them how they could increase the efficiency of their station, / their laboratory / their refinery, and they're like, okay, you're not part of the Sons of Earth because you're super smart. So apparently these activists aren't the sharpest tools in the shed. Probably why we don't see them. They're like, how do we fly a spaceship?
How do we even get there?
Yeah, how do we get to Delta 3? We'll just stay on Earth, have a cup of tea. It's all good. So the Romana is apparently going to be sacrificed because she's an affront to Kroll's love.
I think it's just because that she's the companion, actually.
Yeah, which is so weird because if you look at the first two stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Romana's the Doctor's superior, essentially. Even though she's just graduated, she's superior intellect and all that. But now she's just become sort of the archetype of she's
I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like they forgot how to write her.
I don't know. I think it's more like they let her. She started to finally grasp the whole like companion doctor feel about it. I mean, she's still clearly makes the judgment calls, and well, not like actual judgment. Yeah. But she's definitely got the intellect there. But of course, she's finally started to realize that the doctor has more experience in the field.
Yeah. I still feel though that Romana comes off as wearing the pants. I feel.
Yeah.
See, because she's definitely like, I'm so much cooler than you, basically, and the doctor's like, yes, but I kill Daleks, so just throwing that out there. Which is what I love, is we haven't seen the Daleks for ages. I am thoroughly loving that about Tom Baker's run. But yeah, so Romana gets caught. She's sacrificed to Kroll. And the doctor's like, I'm gonna leave, and they're like, this is a secure facility, you can't get out of here. And he's like, oh, don't say that to me. And then he leaves. And they're like, where did he go? And they're like, oh, I don't know, he somehow got out of here. And they're like,
oh, he just left.
This is a secure facility, like, how did it happen? So he goes off, he knocks out the dude that's Kroll. That costume is so great. Just everything about it's great, because what I love is they don't know what Kroll looks like.
Yeah. So he kind of looked like
a macro.
Yeah, he absolutely looked like a macro.
I was like, what the hell? So, because obviously they don't. It's weird because like they don't have a written history, yet they find a written history.
I feel like what happened is like they used to be a relatively intelligent species, like an actual civilization, and then when humans moved them from the original place of Delta Magna, moved them from Delta Magna to the moon that they're on, a moon of Delta Magna, they obviously lost that.
Yeah, like a cultural regression.
Yeah, because of obviously humans messing with them. And then when they got there, they obviously had some people who could write and at least had the facilities available to print a book somehow.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the humans may have helped them out with that. And then eventually after several hundred years, it seems.
Yeah, it seems like it's been a bloody long time.
Yeah, of them living on that moon with the the religion that they've got around Krull is caused them to regress in that way, as well as not, the humans sort of just messing with them.
The Doctor and Romana escape, and they end up bumping into the Gunrunner, and the Gunrunner stops them. The people from the facility come to go capture the Doctor again and pretty much attack the Swampies. And then Krull literally turns up, looks like Cthulhu, is like this monstrous creature of tentacles. And they're all praying to Krull. And I love the lead priest, he's like, Krull, we're so sorry, your children are so sorry. And half of the tribe's like, I think that might just be an angry tentacle monster. And the other half of the tribe are like, we pray to you, Krull! And it's great that, not all of them are actually on board for their religion. Because there's that young Swampy who's, fully anti the establishment of the modern wave of Swampy culture. And he's just like, I don't think Krull's an actual religion.
So it looks like it's just a big creature, not necessarily a god, guys.
It looks like it might just be a giant angry tentacle monster. The Gunrunner, Doctor, and Romana all end up getting caught, and I just love how the Doctor, when they're caught and they get strapped in that bamboo thing that's going to stretch them apart in that room. I love how James Bond that was. It was so unnecessarily James Bond. Just kill them. Just kill them.
It was the best because it was even the same sort of deal. Oh, you're not gonna. He even says you're not gonna stay and watch.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're not savages. We're not gonna watch. Kind of seem like you're being savages right now.
And the Doctor's like, I don't know if you know this, but I could fully escape if you don't kill me right this second. So Ranquin, who is the lead priest, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go, but the Doctor's like, hey, I want to talk to you about the mechanisms of this place. And the Doctor's trying to hypnotize him, and Romana's getting real grumpy because the way that he's talking to the head priest seems like he's just being joyous about the entire occasion. She's like, I can't believe you're so happy about this. He's like, no, I was trying to get us the hell out of this. He's like, I'm sorry, guys. And then it cuts back to the base, and then the creature that they call Krull, it starts attacking the base, and it eats that one guy. I love it because it's this giant, clearly plastic tentacle just goes whoop and grabs the guy, and everybody's looking at him in disbelief, oh shit, I did not sign up for this. They're like, I want to go home. And so the Gunrunner and the Doctor and all that, they start to... the Doctor gets them out by... It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
That's so great.
He manages to go to such a pitch that he shatters glass. And then he mentions some opera singer he knew could shatter glass. But the thing is that, at that frequency, wouldn't he shatter everybody else's eardrums?
It depends, really. The thing is, normally what the case is when those opera singers and stuff can shatter glass, they're not actually shattering normal glass. They're shattering wine glasses, which are generally made out of crystal, which does at a certain frequency generally get like that. But glass itself has a different frequency, which is why he mentioned such things. But the fact that he was able to get to that pitch it was so weird.
Yeah, it was
hearing
so
that,
weird.
I thought that my headphones or my speakers were just were breaking when I heard it. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, he's making that noise.
It's so bizarre, and it's just weird because you see the look on Tom Baker's face of him acting out the noise, and just the look in Mary Tam's eyes is did somebody actually write this scene? Just seriously, guys, watch this story. Pause on Mary Tam's eyes when he does that noise. It's so funny. You could tell she's just man, I want to pull a Peter Davison in Time Flight right now and just give up acting. But so she
not even Phil.
Not even no. So they go to escape, and then Krull kills the Gunrunner. It's so random because the Gunrunner's he's kind of superfluous as a character, but they hired this guy who sounds, looks, and acts like a badass 180% of the time. It's so intense how badass this guy is, and they just like randomly kill him off. I was so hoping he'd be there for a final throwdown with Thorn, the main leader of the facility. And it was just so weird, because like he dies, because I was talking to Harriet Scally while I was watching the story, like in real time, and be like, this guy's the man. And as soon as he died, I was like so tempted to go, and now he's dead. But it was just so weird. Like, why hire this actor and then make this character as just like sort of just a throwaway character? He's like a nothing in the end, and kind of really isn't even that important to the plot. They could have just mentioned the gun rather and not even shown him.
Well, script.
Exactly. They're like, let's hire the most badass guy we can and just kill him off like end of episode 2.
Well,
yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, there's many different reasons why he could have been added in there. They could have originally wanted him to be something else, like actually play part of the plot, but then they decided against it.
They certainly did. There was a complete 180 in that direction there. But I liked Thorn because he was played by the actor that I felt sorry for in The Mind of Evil, the docile prisoner who had the mind machine wipe all the evil out of his mind. So it was that actor, and him coming back, it was so weird because I was like, oh, it's that guy again. But then he was like this like crazy dude who over the progress of the story, he just gets more and more unstable.
Yeah.
And then like I love how he just sort of dies, and then like when he kills Dugan, it's so random. Dugan's like, I'm gonna go for it, and like I don't know what he was trying to achieve, because he was just asking to be shot and killed. He doesn't even like properly try to take the gun off Thorn. It's so weird. And the Doctor manages to figure out that Kroll is the key.
Well, not that Kroll himself is the key of the piece.
Yeah.
He's like, there was an idol apparently of some sort that originally had a power to make the holder see through time. Yeah. And the Doctor realized immediately that sounds like a key. And then
an octopus ate it?
An octopus ate it a while ago.
Yeah, and turned
into this Kroll thing. Well, not obviously Kroll itself
was an idea, right?
The Kroll creature was obviously a big tentacle monster at some point.
Yeah.
But then ate the piece and become even bigger and even more badass.
Yeah, I like when he starts destroying the facility. That's so great, because like the model work's actually really good in my opinion. I thought it was very well shot, but it was just crazy like seeing how actually large Kroll was, because that facility is enormous. In terms of the in-universe plot. So like Kroll would have been like bigger than Godzilla.
Yeah. Kroll is so, like proper massive.
Yeah.
Like, even the shots where the reason why it looks a bit weird in that, like even in the screenshot on TARDIS Wikia, is obviously because they took a shot of the horizon and then just like cut in.
Yeah, it's so great. I didn't notice it until you pointed it out.
Yeah, it's so clear because you can also see that it's also kind of chopped off the top of that guy's head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes it look really weird and wonky, but in effect, it at the same time it doesn't really give way to exactly how big he is because of that kind of terrible effect that they've got going there. But if you imagine that, like that's like a hill that they're going over, and just beyond it is the sea. He's extremely massive.
Yeah, he would have to be phenomenally large.
Yeah.
And
these shots that they do with him like peering over the hillside, just they all look really bad. But it's only because they've had to cut the footage into two pieces to get that. It's so weird.
This is one of the instances where I'm like, I know this is hindsight and hindsight's 2020, but I'm so pissed off that BBC never gave Doctor Who the budget it deserved.
Mm.
Like, but the thing is, though, is they had to find creative ways to make the stories believable. But could you imagine if Doctor Who had been given like the same budget as like Blake 7? Like, wow, man, the stuff they would have been able to pull off would have been astronomical. And like BBC would have had like 2 hard hitters because, like, I mean, to be honest, I mean, Doctor Who it's a cult, right? It's a cult show. Whereas, like, if it had the budget, I reckon it would have been still, you know, it would be even more universally praised than it is now. Like, I know it's got a universal appeal, but could you imagine like the power of it if it had like proper budget behind it? I think it would have been. I don't think it would have been cancelled in the 80s.
Well, that's the thing, is that if we just like take the idea, we go back and look at the way that a lot of TV shows have been handled, where, you know, there's a bunch of shows that get phenomenal amounts of funding, get all the CG funding, all the stuff they need to work on, and they end up, you know, cancelled or just generally end up finished by you know, season 3 or 4. And you think about how long Doctor Who's been going on.
Yeah.
And if all these shows that had not, all these shows that fell over, if we had taken their money and just funneled them into Doctor Who instead, then 50 years, over 50 years now, of money additionally would have made this, it would be so much better.
Yeah, because I the one story I've always wanted to see with a big budget is the Demons. I would have loved to see the Demons with a bigger budget, because like it already looked good, but if they could like polish it, especially when the leader of the Demons turns like enormous, like with a proper budget, that would have been so cool. Like just unit firing missiles at this like large giant demon man, and the Brigadier being like, I don't know why I keep firing these, because they're clearly doing jack shit. But he would have kept doing it with gusto. But even apart from the special effects, some of the shots, because I think the model works really good in this, but some of the model on top of live action shots, apart from that,
it's a bit weird.
I think the story does hold up well. I really enjoyed it. It is the cliche, you know, Native Americans versus the US military story. It's the avatar of Doctor Who. In fact, for the thumbnail this week, I am going to grab a picture of Keish and just put Navi's face on top of him, because like it's you know, it's that story. I mean, like, oh, and the Doctor can be Kevin Costner from Dances with Wolves. Yes, perfect. I'm doing it. So Gimp's gonna get a lot of working out tonight. So yeah, apart from that, I think it works quite well, and it was written by Robert Holmes, which, I mean, like, we know Robert Holmes, he's pretty good. I mean, he wrote, you know, the Second Doctor's last story. So Robert Holmes, he's the cream of the crop. So I think if anybody else had handled this, so like the person who wrote Stones of Blood, for instance, had handled this, I don't think this would have turned out as well. Even though like Stones of Blood is still watchable, I think if this same writer had handled Power of Kroll, we might have a different kettle of fish here. But I still suggest it. I think this whole season's been brilliant. I mean, there was that one hiccup, but it's not unwatchable, which is good. Power of Kroll, I enjoyed it.
That's no Love and Monsters.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, to be honest, I don't think we've come across a classic Who story that was Love and Monsters bad. Maybe The Invisible Enemy?
No, not even that.
Not even that, eh?
There's not been one that has been like significantly unwatchable. Like, of course, there's like been moments where you're just like, oh, why? Especially, you know, like yellow facing, you know, a perfectly, you know, yellow facing someone when we've got a bunch of other Asian actors
who can all speak English. It's so bizarre. I don't understand.
You know, things like that. That you're like. But otherwise, you know, there's not quite like a full Love and Monsters, like, oh my god, how could I watch this ever? How did anyone think this is a good idea?
You know, we're going to have to watch that and Fear Her at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to watch Idiot's Lantern either. David Tennant's first season's got some really bad episodes. But anyway...
Not looking forward to it, though.
No. That's thankfully probably a year and a bit away. So looking forward for that being as far back as possible. And with New Who starting next month, we can push it back even further. I'm really liking that. So the Power Crow, I think it's watchable. I love how they handled K9 not being able to be in the story, because it actually makes sense. Like, even, like, if I had a robot dog and I went to this place, I'd be like, my robot dog can't walk around here because it's a swamp. And
that is the weirdest thing, is that K9 is from a time where obviously robots are more capable. So why isn't he have 4 legs? Why does he just like roll across the ground?
Well,
that's what I really don't understand about K9. Like, I never really got that. I mean, clearly it's because they couldn't, they would never be able to have created they never would have been able to animate and put in a actual robot dog that had 4 legs, obviously. But
he would have had to be blue screened every shot.
Yeah, the way that the way that he is in the time that he's from, it would make more sense if he had legs. But obviously, because of money and time and ability, even technological constraints of the time, that's why
because it was the 70s.
Yeah, that's why he rolls on the ground. But every time that they make an excuse for him not being able, for those things, you're just like, he could have had 4 legs.
Well, in the K9 spin-off, he actually does have 4 legs and can fly.
Well, there you go. See, which
makes you wonder why he even has legs if he can flip and fly.
Well, you always need legs. Legs are nice.
Legs are nice. The Daleks don't need legs. So Power Crawl's great. This season's great. Again, this whole box set can be picked up for pretty cheap. But before we wrap up Part A, the Armageddon Factor.
Yes,
Harriet's
the final story in the Key to Time story arc. This is quite a doozy. This one, with the Doctor and Romana trying to find that final piece to the puzzle.
The 6th segment of time.
Yeah, the 6th segment of time, which is apparently on the planet Atrios, which is part of a star system that has 2 Earth-like planets right next to each other that are both at war, because, why wouldn't they be?
Exactly.
And they're not just a normal war, they're proper nuclear spaceship war going on. Which is a real interesting idea when it comes down to it. The idea of 2 planets being real close to each other and having the same sort of evolutionary line, and then eventually becoming at war with each other, that sort of stuff.
They used to be trade partners as well, you find out in the story. They used to be real close.
But they were obviously a big deal, and then that would have happened. So it's sort of general stuff that happens on the Earth with countries that are right next to each other, that sort of deal, or even just with a body of water between them. But the real interesting thing about it is, in Doctor Who universe, that could have possibly have been Earth and
Mondas.
Yeah, we could have totally have ended up like that if they hadn't had that weird orbit that they did. I don't know. But yeah. So the story plays out like your standard 6-episode long one. With the whole you get the build up over the first 4 episodes, and then get 2 episodes where a lot of it just gets resolved at the end.
Exactly.
Which is good. It's a standard. It's basically the standard practice of Doctor Who, especially when you've got 6 episodes and you need to get a whole big sci-fi world covered. That's generally how they have to play it out. Where you get a whole bunch of stuff done in the beginning, explaining how everything works, and who all the players are, and then right at the end.
One of my favorite things about the beginning is the propaganda television series, the drama that romanticizes the war. I loved that.
That is actually great. I really wanted that to be where the Doctor landed, because it looked like it, for a moment there, my brain was like, okay, so this is clearly a dramatization of something. I really hope that this is actually where they are landing, on a planet where everyone has dramatized their life.
That would be great. A TV show world.
Yeah, if it landed on TV show world, but gave some weird sci-fi reason as to why they were all TV show people. Yeah, but then it just turned out to just be, just a standard World War II metaphor. Jeez.
Yeah. I love the propaganda though. It's so great because he's like, I've got to go out there and battle for our rights. And she's like, you can't. And I was just like, this is solid gold. And it just reminds me of like Days of Our Lives and stuff like that. Like just like the real cheesy American patriotism, like TV shows. It's so great.
It was actually perfect. But yeah, immediately we're just thrust into this story of what's going on with the fight between Atreus and Zeus.
Zeus, yeah.
Zeus, Atreus and Zeus. Seem like
oh my god! I just realized A to Z.
Yeah, that is why. So they we start off with that introduction of this world with the dramatization, and then a weird like interlude throughout the first episode where the Doctor and Romana haven't landed yet, and for some reason the armies on Atreus are like trying to blow them out of the sky and that sort of stuff, but it never gets like explored later down the line as to why that was going on. Just that the fact that the Doctor and Romana just obviously hadn't landed on the planet properly.
Yeah, well, no, it was because they something had thrown them off course and they couldn't figure out what it was, and it was the same thing that was blocking Atreus from seeing Zeus. Well,
yeah. So there was that reason behind them not landing initially, but that segment of
of the episode
of the episode wasn't necessary at all. Like it seemed
agree.
like time filler. But
it definitely was, and you can feel it when you watch that scene. It was just padding.
Yeah, it was definitely padding, which is, I mean, they had to cover 6 episodes. I guess so there was room for padding at this point. But yeah, from there we meet up with the princess of Atreus, who is clearly, and obviously always in every Doctor Who story, the princess is clearly not happy with war, totally a peace lover. That's absolutely every single time that happens in Doctor Who. Seriously.
Interesting thing about the actress who plays her is that's Lalla Ward.
That is.
And she is Richard Dawkins' wife, and something else we'll find out about later on in the series.
Anyway, we meet her. We find out her pacifist status, and basically how the marshal of the Atreus people really doesn't like her because he's basically a war fanatic, and also totally being controlled by the Black Guardian, which was, as much as they tried to hide that, it was so obvious. Staring at a black mirror that is all like thing, and just
they weren't even subtle.
Yeah, and clearly just being like a chaotic guy in general. You're sort of like, he's being controlled by the god of chaos. Yep. Makes sense. So yeah, that's basically the story plays out how it's kind of expected to, actually, which is, I guess, kind of a little bit of a downside on this story, is that it seemed kind of
formulaic.
It was formulaic. It was, there was no real like what's the word? I never felt surprised by anything. It was all very standard, and I could see pretty much every step of the story coming.
Yeah.
To the point where the bad guy was called Shadow,
yes.
rather than like calling himself just something normal or some other just random name. Instead of calling himself Shadow and be like, okay, Black Guardian, cool.
I'm the Shadow.
Like, you don't
work for my Lord and Savior, the Black Guardian. That's how he talked, by the way, guys.
Yeah. He was actually a great villain, though. That's certainly better than a lot of those ones that have those names. And he was a fantastic actor as well. That voice.
Yeah, I love that voice.
So eventually we find out that the princess is actually the last part of the key, and of course she was. Yeah. Come on. And the Doctor pulls some shenanigans, of course he does. With Drax, though, that's cool.
I love Drax. Fate, is it? And the look on the Doctor's face is like, oh, not Drax. Why?
It's so good. I love Drax. He's the best Time Lord.
Yeah. Where's your TARDIS? Oh, I parked it on that trust, didn't I? The Doctor's like, why? Why did you do that?
Like, Drax, please. Like,
And
also, why do you speak like this?
Oh, I love how he's so angry that Drax talks like that.
Yeah.
Cause like, and I love how the explanation is because he landed on Earth and he needed to he decided to steal a part and got arrested by like Earth police.
Yep.
And was put in prison, and they would have just thought he was just a random dude, but he's like a Time Lord from Gallifrey stuck in prison, just like, okay, ready to get out. And then he picked up fully a Cockney accent. It's so great. What, is there something wrong with the way I talk? And the Doctor's like, no, not at all. Can't wait for you to regen though, because you'll stop talking like that.
But oh no, with Drax, he's so good.
He's so great.
Yeah. So yeah, we go through all that stuff. The Doctor finally outwitting, sort of outwitting the Shadow, more just like his own setup of Deus Ex Machina, really, because he uses part of the key to time, the pieces that he's got, to put the Marshal in a time loop. Before he manages to, go and blow up the whole planet.
Can you explain that crap to me? Because, like, he just used random stuff to fill in the blanks, right, on the key?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This is something that I really wanted to go into, but I was going to leave it until I actually completed this.
Oh,
but I guess we'll start it now. As like a whole, for the whole Key to Time arc, it's probably a good time to talk about it now that it's finished. I'm kind of at a loss as to what I guess really the reason is for timing and really just not really thinking it out in full at the time. But I really don't know why all the pieces to the Key to Time weren't like their own primordial power, which is obviously something they tried to pull off in Power of Kroll.
Yeah, where
the idol and the key itself was an actual powerful item, and it granted people the ability to see through time. Why all the other pieces weren't like that, I'm not sure. Yeah. But I guess it's because a lot of them weren't things people could hold. A lot of them were different, like actual idols and all that other stuff, in different places. But it seems like it should have been like that they were all greater pieces of power, and then once together they form Captain Planet sort of deal.
Yeah.
That they become the ultimate controlling of the universe, rather than the way that it was, where like they were all basically inanimate, just things, really, that they turned themselves into things within different worlds and they didn't do anything else. Yeah, so it would have been way more interesting if they had certain powers that had been granted to them, but it's a really old story now, 50 years on, so there's no real way we could complain about it. And if it makes sense in the end, if you really think about it like that these particular items all had separate powers, and then once put together, even not completely, still had great power, which the Doctor used to seal the Marshal in a temporal loop. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So seals them in a loop, and has this weird, they have this weird conversation about power corrupting. I don't know why they even really needed to have that conversation. It's not
because Bal Baker wrote the story, that's why.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, because obviously the Doctor would have never have gone megalomaniac with that power, because he's been given multitudes of power before, so it's interesting why
his own people as well, and he turns it down. Exactly.
So why would he even think about that, and why would Romana question it at all? I don't understand. So I don't know, that little interaction didn't seem in character to me. But
are you talking about when he goes, I could use this power to destroy everything? That moment.
Well, I mean, there's that moment as well.
Because I love that moment so much.
I do love that moment, but that seemed like it was more of him, him playing around.
Yeah.
Less of before, when he does it originally with only the partial key, when Romano's talking to him about how that power can corrupt and that stuff. Like, you don't need to have this conversation. We already understand. Come on. But yeah, there's that. what was I talking about? That's why the Marshal was trapped in this time loop, and it's effectively just a Deus Ex Machina of him eventually defeating the Shadow.
Yeah.
Is when he gets out of the time loop and blows up the space station that they're on, which is, I guess it's probably one of the better Deus Ex Machinas ever set up, considering he literally got god powers when he got the time key. It makes more sense when you think about it like that he's becoming god anyway, so he can pull his own god things if he wants. But still, come on. But yeah, it ends with the Black Guardian trying to trick the Doctor into thinking that he's the White Guardian, and the Doctor figures out that he's not, simply because of his blatant disregard of human life. Which is really quite interesting, but also kind of makes me wonder, why did the White Guardian send him looking out for these pieces anyway? Because if the end of this, he just separates them all again, obviously, because he doesn't want the Black Guardian to have control of it. Why was he sent out to find them in the first place?
Oh, I thought he destroyed the key.
No, he destroyed the homing locator.
Ah, right.
But the key separated into its constituent parts. The sixth piece turned back into the princess, so she could be the princess again. But all those other ones obviously probably went back to being whatever they were before. If not, just went back to being other random items throughout the universe.
Or just floating around space-time like, hey guys, wanna go get a beer? We can't drink, we're pieces of the key to time.
Well, they could just turn into people and drink beer.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
They totally can. Turn into a bunch of princesses, Turn into the princesses of Heart or something.
That would be cool. Hashtag Disney buys out BBC.
Anyway. So something to that effect. So what it makes me wonder is if initially, when the White Guardian showed up and was like, hey, can you go find the key to time? It kind of makes me wonder if that was actually the Black Guardian the whole time.
Well, I was thinking about that actually, but what I think one of the main giveaways for the Black Guardian as well, because Romana's real hesitant about the situation too, is he didn't turn into either of the faces that the White Guardian had chosen to talk to Romana and the Doctor.
Yeah,
because that would have been a dead giveaway. Like, hey, you didn't turn into the faces we would have recognized. Yeah,
but at the same time, he's a god.
Yeah,
and the same as
he's shapeless.
Yeah, same as the White Guardian. Is that not necessarily, especially when they frequently show up as just random different people. They obviously don't really particularly care which form they take. Yeah. So it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, admittedly, like with general human concepts and stuff, admittedly, when you first see the Black Guardian in disguise, you're like, that's totally the Black Guardian. It looks like a Black Guardian.
And there's also the actor that would go on to play the Black Guardian in the Enlightenment trilogy with the Doctor. And I was like, damn, I already know this guy's the Black Guardian.
Yeah, so it's like, that's the sort of deal that we're dealing with here. So the thing about it is that realistically, because they're not required to look in a particular way, it could have easily have been the Black Guardian in the beginning.
I think he might be onto something there. That would be pretty cool if that's what it was.
That he just was manipulating the Doctor and Romana, pulled in Romana for some reason, obviously, because she looked like one of the keys. Pulled in Romana and the Doctor to track down and put together all of the pieces. Was hoping originally for, or not really hoping, I guess, just another part of his plan was the Shadow with the sixth piece, and then his whole plan in total was to get the Doctor to collect all 6 keys and then just hand it over.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That makes a lot more sense then, because why would the White Guardian try and track them all down?
Yeah, because what would he even use it for?
Yeah.
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, but the Black Guardian was doing this whole thing just for that. But at the same time, I also kind of think that maybe the White Guardian interrupted in some points,
but not in the same like turned into a person and did things. Like he just like allowed for certain events to happen so that the Doctor, succeeded eventually. Like he's probably the reason why Drax was there in the first place.
Though yes, because it was so random the Doctor bumping into another Time Lord.
Yeah,
especially one from school.
Yeah, that's
like
the thing.
It's
like with the whole Deus Ex Machina things that ended up happening in a lot of these stories, it kind of makes me seem like the God of Order had ordered these things to happen.
That makes a lot of sense. And with this being the most fantastical season we've had, yeah, I'll definitely go on board. Because the last time we ran into the Guardians before this was just with the Toymaker, and that was the last time Doctor Who was fantastical, basically, except for of course the Mind Robber, which I still love that story. I mean, if you guys long-term Whoscussion listeners know, go pick up the Mind Robber if you haven't yet. It's so superb. But I really like this idea. As far as I'm concerned, that's Whoscussion canon. That was the Black Guardian the whole time.
Yeah, that was his intentions from the beginning, was to get the key together, and that the White Guardian, knowing that he really shouldn't intervene, like the Black Guardian totally was.
Yeah.
That he orchestrated a series of events to make sure that the Doctor A, succeeded, and B, thwarted the Black Guardian in the end. It's also possible that Romana showing up wasn't actually part of the Black Guardian's plan. That the White Guardian did show up.
Oh, the White Guardian did. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's Whoscussion canon right now. Print it. It happened. Update TARDIS Wikia.
Yeah.
Right now. Whole time Black Guardian. I love it. Yes. Oh, and that would explain why it was so precise in choosing Romana for the whole doppelganger thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, wow, that's great. That's just blowing my mind. I love that. This is why I love watching Who with you, Harriet Kelly. This is just, yes. Another thing of note is the use of the dimensional stabilizers. I love how Drax turns it into that cool looking gun thing. But it's not the first time we've had it. We've had it with, of course, we've had dimensional stabilizers converting their size with the Planet of Giants, Carnival of Monsters, and the aforementioned... with the tissue compression device, but also
something of similar effect.
Yeah, and the Invisible Enemy is another time where the Doctor used the dimensional stabilizers. But I love how Drax had gutted his TARDIS to turn it into other components.
Yeah,
Drax was so great. I love how the Doctor's and you can see it straight in his face. He's like, oh no, not Drax, why? I would have really preferred to run into Crochet here, but it's alright.
Even Romana, or even the Master at this point.
Yeah,
guys.
exactly. Just come on. Out of everybody from the Decker, it had to be Drax. And Drax is like, hey there, Theta. No, I'm called the Doctor now. Theta Sigma. Dude, you call me Theta Sigma one more time, I want to roundhouse kick you, man. I'm not called that anymore. I'm called the Doctor. And I love how he just still calls him Theta the whole time. He's like, Theta. And you can see in the Doctor's face, he's like, I'm not impressed that you're calling me that. When I graduated, I changed my name, alright? So,
yeah, I got a doctorate.
Yeah.
I love how Drax even makes the joke about I got your doctorate, eh?
Yeah. Well, because Drax doesn't even try to sit his paper again.
No, he doesn't.
Because the Doctor sits his paper again, but Drax just dropped out and became a mechanic, which is great.
Really, so he basically totally actually stole that TARDIS.
Yeah, he totally would have stolen that TARDIS.
Not in the same way that the Doctor steals a TARDIS. In a totally different way.
But I would have loved it if it was Barossa turned up and was like, I need you to repair my TARDIS for me there, Drax. Oh, hey, Lord Barossa, how you been? Pretty great. Pretty sad you didn't pass, but that's okay. I need it in working order in 40 cycles. I'll get it to you there, Lord Barossa. And then just steals Lord Barossa's TARDIS.
It was Barossa just standing there Drax, what? He stole my TARDIS. He
stole my TARDIS? Yeah, we're real sorry about that. We can give you a refund, but do you have insurance? No, I don't have insurance. Ooh. You should have gone with the Wrestle-On Gold Pass. Save you a lot of cycles just then.
Hold on. Do I get natural TARDIS insurance as being part of the Teachers Guild? No. Oh yeah, I guess you kind of do. All right, here you go.
There you go. Wrestle-On Gold.
Discussion canon, right?
I so hope he stole Bruce's TARDIS. That'd be so funny. Bruce turns up to because what's great is that means Drax would have been working there the day Clara, the Clara Time Lady, gave the Doctor the TARDIS.
Yep.
So I imagine that day Drax is just like, hey, that's fake. Who stole the TARDIS? And instead of like keeping his friend's identity kept, he's like, oh, that was Fate. I was like, oh, tell us more about this Fate.
Who's Fate?
These are my friends from the Celestial Intervention Agency. Have you ever heard of a mind probe? Oh, no, I can't say it. Oh! Steals Bruce's TARDIS. That's for mind probing, you bastard. But yeah, so I love Drax, and I love how like he's like being real chummy, and the Doctor's like, man, like I know we were bros back in school, but I don't think you grew up. Like, like he's one of those friends that he's like, I want you to just stay the friend I had in high school. I don't want you to be my friend in adult life.
I think it's simply because I guess like that's sort of the deal with Time Lords is that when they regenerate, they might not like the same Time Lord because of the change in personality as well. So it'd be really interesting to know like how their friendship worked, because obviously they were all of their first incarnations were all friends.
Yeah.
But then obviously also particularly with the Master, I guess, is that because of how many like constant regenerations he did, obviously straight after that, because that's why the Doctor was still like only in his third when the Master was kind of in his final.
Yeah, the Master was like, I've run out of some, so I've come to Earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's obvious that like the personality change from regeneration to regeneration causes a rift in friendships. So it's interesting that idea. It would be really nice to have explored somebody. Hey.
Well, what's interesting is Big Finish has actually explored quite a lot of the Decker. So when we start doing the monthly range, we're running out of short trips to cover as well. We'll definitely be learning a bit more about the Decker. And what's great is Drax actually has a couple of stories as well, which is going to be wonderful. We also know the Monk was part of the Decker. What's interesting though is the Monk's 50 years younger than the Doctor.
Yep.
So was he a really good student?
And
then got put up for some grades, maybe?
Maybe.
That
makes sense.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see that, because like for him to
be
the
also,
same group of friends.
We also don't know how long the Academy is for as well. Because it easily could have been the Doctor in like his mid-20s.
Yeah, hanging out with like this young ass fella, right? Like, hey.
Well, yeah, like it would have like looked mid-20s to any human, but he was actually like 50.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even actually 100. Like,
and just
easily could have been then.
Hey guys, yeah, because Romana, she says she's just graduated and she's like 100 plus.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can get behind that. It'd be interesting for us to find out a bit more about them with the Decker, which will be superb. But yeah, the Armageddon Factor, I mean, like as you said, it was pretty by the numbers.
But I mean, by no means not enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know? Like it was definitely interesting. There's interesting characters, interesting things going on, but with the whole paint by numbers, you feel like a lot of the things are the same. But there is some real funny bits and pieces.
Major Shap is my favorite character.
Yes,
Major Shap was so great. Hello there, Doctor, and he was like real, like sort of fancy, like
yeah. That's great.
When he gets shot by that guy, and he turns around, he kills that guy, and then the guy shoots him, and he falls back. And I was like, "Is he dead?" And then he's randomly still alive.
Yeah.
And he saves Astra's boyfriend, and it's just like it's so random. I love Shep. He was great. He was my favorite character.
Yeah. There's solid bits like that. And K9, like his like. It's basically his betrayal and like return is such a fantastic little like side plot that I really wish would have been like the main plot.
Yeah, that would have been cool actually, having the Shadow like weaponize K9, considering K9 is essentially the greatest sonic screwdriver ever. Like he can get the Doctor out of so many situations. And I like how the Doctor just lets him kill stuff. He's like, I just need you to kill all the things, K9. K9's like, oh, but aren't you against violence? Yes, but you're a robot, so it's okay.
It's okay, you can't sin, because you don't have a soul.
Exactly. Well, I suppose with that will wrap up part A for this week, and we'll catch you all in part B.
On the flip side.